Hello and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Laraine Durham and welcome to the Downsize. This is the channel where we talk about all things GLP-1, weight loss and health related. Downsized Dish is our weekly series where we interview people who have used a GLP-1 and we talk about their health and weight loss journey. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice. Before starting any health plan, please consult your doctor or healthcare professional. I hope you will like and subscribe to our channel, The Downsized, and we'll just jump right into it. Today we have Jody with us. Welcome, Jody, to The Downsized Dish.
Thank you, Lorraine. Appreciate both you and Christopher having me.
Oh, of course, of course. Jody, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure. I am a 54-year-old mom of two. I have a daughter who's 27 and a son who's 23. They're all grown and out of the house now.
Hey.
I work in the medical device field. So as a lot of your recordings talk about the pharma area, I can, you know, understand a lot of it due to my relationship on the medical device side.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I like to listen to that. I live in a very rural town in upstate New York, close to Vermont. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of my background.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about your weight loss journey. Tell us about your history with trying to lose weight.
Sure. I never had a weight problem my entire life. I was always thin. Even after having children, I never had an issue. I exercised, I ate healthy. I've never been a big eater my whole life. My nickname, actually, when I was young, like a teenager, one of my uncles used to call me Bones, if that tells you
Oh.
anything. So, so around when I was 43, I was continuing, my normal exercise and diet, and the weight just kept coming on. And I was
Mm,
like, I don't understand what's going on. I know I'm not consuming too many calories. I know I'm getting exercise. So I contacted my doctor and I'm like, something, is not right.
yeah.
So she ran a blood panel and found out I was hypothyroid.
Okay.
So, so once I became hypothyroid, I'm treated. I've been given medication. I take levothyroxine daily, and in theory, taking that medication is supposed to get your body back to normal,
Yeah.
but it did not for me. The
Oh.
way, even though my blood panels are within the proper range, the
Mm-hmm.
weight just kept coming on.
Oh.
So, I ballooned up to, it settled in around 230 to 235,
Mm-hmm.
and the increase in weight didn't go beyond that. But I
Mm-hmm.
spent more than a decade working with my doctor, nutritionists, uh, trainers, everything to try to get my body back the way it used to be, and nothing worked.
How
So
frustrating.
uh,
Yeah.
very frustrating. And, a lot of the levers that folks traditionally pull to lose weight, decrease your calories, stop drinking alcohol, exercise. I was already doing everything. So,
Oh.
my doctor couldn't offer me any additional advice. Um,
Ugh.
and so it was a very frustrating period, and I didn't feel like myself because I did not spend most of my life in that body. So it,
Yeah.
it was very frustrating.
At,
And
at what point did you find the GLP-1s?
right after Zepbound was approved for weight loss, I
Mm-hmm.
saw that part of my job is monitoring FDA announcements and things. So I saw that it was approved for weight loss. And I said, oh gosh, I'm going to reach out to my doctor. I was able to pull up the FDA approval, saw what the criteria was, and knew that I met the indications that Eli Lilly got approval for. And
Mm-hmm.
my daughter is fabulous, or not my daughter, my doctor is fabulous. And she supported me right from the get go. So she knew my struggles over that decade, and she sent in a prescription for me right away. I didn't even have to go in to see her before she wrote the script.
Oh, yeah, she knew this would help you for sure. Did your insurance cover it? I guess it would, working for a medical device company?
Does
No.
not. You would think that a medical device company would, make sure that their employees were healthy and able to get things they need, but absolutely
Yeah.
not. I
Ugh,
paid out of pocket. I started in December of 2023, so right
mhm,
after the, Eli Lilly approval came in, and I
yeah.
paid out of pocket for every dose.
Oh, that's terrible. Were you able to use a savings card or just or
I was able to use the savings card,
okay.
originally for the pens, although I will say sometimes the pharmacy struggled with using it. I was originally, using Walgreens as a pharmacy. Some months they couldn't get it to work, so I paid
Yeah.
fully out of pocket so I didn't
Oh,
miss a dose.
oh,
And I finally learned, and of course, seeing things online of folks saying, "Oh, Walgreens is terrible, like, for this process," and I moved over to a Walmart pharmacy. Those are the only 2 pharmacies anywhere close to where I live, so I had
oh,
limited options.
oh, goodness. Yeah, Christopher was on, Mounjaro and then Zepbound, so I would try whoever had it, right? I was always looking for it, and Walgreens, I don't know if it's their system, they just could never figure it out, and I'd have to go back, and they'd tell me to come back later, and I'd go back the next was crazy. Well, I'm glad that you had an alternative in your
Yeah.
town to Walgreens. Um, so, yeah, so you started the Zepbound, and how'd that go?
Things went very well. I had an immediate response to the medication. I was on 2.5. This was the only mistake I've made along the way. I was
Oh,
on 2.5 for 2 weeks, and
uh-huh.
it was great, no side effects. So I told my doctor, "I'm doing great, so let's bump it up to 5."
Oh,
not not knowing that you should really let it build in your system for at least 4 weeks before you change doses.
yeah.
So my, transition from 2.5 to 5, that was the only time it was a little rough. Nausea, fatigue mostly. I haven't had vomiting or diarrhea at all my entire journey. So overall, I had, a great pleasant response to the medication.
Mhm.
On average, I was in my weight loss phase for 44 weeks in total,
Oh,
and I, lost on average 2 pounds per week. This
wow.
chart that Christopher popped up, when I
Yeah,
first started, I wanted to set expectations, so I created a graph, like, how long will it take me to get to goal weight if
yeah.
I lost 2 pounds per week? And that's the blue lines that you see. And then the kind of orange reddish line was my actual loss along the way.
Oh,
So
wow.
even on those weeks where I did have little blips up, I was
Uh,
still overall to plan. So it just kept me mentally motivated to keep going.
yeah.
So
Oh, wow. So, let me go back and ask you a question. So, your first month, you got 4 pens of the 2.5, but you only took 2 of them. 'Em. What'd you do with those other 2 2.5s?
I combined two of them for a
Or a
5.0.
5? I was wondering if maybe you combine them. People have, asked us questions, "Can I use 2 pens to make the bigger dose?" Um, so that's what I was wondering that. So your loss over time, was it greater than 2 pounds a week, or it averaged 2 pounds a week?
It averaged 2 pounds per week, so I had some weeks where I lost 3, even I think 1 week I had over 4 pounds, and then I did have some weeks where I blipped up a little bit,
Hmm.
but I think it was only of the 44 weeks, I only had a blip up 4 times.
Oh,
So
wow. That's great.
otherwise, I did lose, every single week other than those 4 weeks, and I never really experienced, a stall, like a lot of folks experience 3 or 4 weeks
Yeah,
stall. I had never
yeah,
had that experience.
yeah, that's
So,
good. What was your total weight loss of the
um,
44 weeks?
to hit goal, it was 89 pounds down. And
Wow.
then, in maintenance, I've dropped a couple more pounds, so I'm sitting at just over 90 pounds, or 93.4 pounds down today.
Wow. And
Yeah.
your doses, I'm not sure if it says it on the chart, maybe I can't see it from where I'm sitting. Did you, go up in dose?
Yes, and actually that's on the other chart, the table form that I sent over.
Oh, is that this?
This has all of my dosing, so you can
Oh,
see
gotcha. Mhm.
um, what I lost on each dose, what my average rate of loss was for each dose. I did make it all the way to 15.
Okay.
I will say that some of my titrations up were actually due to availability. So, like when,
Oh,
as an example, when I jumped from 7.5 to 10, I was
uh-huh,
doing great on 7.5,
uh-huh.
averaging a little over 2 pounds a week, but it wasn't available. So I just jumped up and stayed higher. So
Gotcha,
I did make it all the way to 15. And then as soon as I hit goal, I started titrating down. Um,
gotcha.
so
Um,
the,
so that's
yeah.
your that's what, this shows your maintenance, so you're now in maintenance. So talk about your titration down and how that went.
Yeah, what I did, I hit goal at 15 milligrams and then I titrated down every month. So I'd spend 4 weeks on 12.5, 4 weeks on 10, and I actually worked my way all the way down to 2.5. Because I paid out of pocket, I was trying
Yeah.
to get all the way to 2.5 so that I was paying the cheapest price. When I got to 2.5, the weight blipped up a little bit. Still within my range. You'll see in this chart, my range, I kind of sat between 140 and 155 for maintenance. That's the green bar that you see.
Mhm.
And so when it started to go up, I'm like, okay, my hypothyroidism, I think, needs at least 5.0. So I went back up to 5.0.
Mhm.
Today, I'm actually at using the 7.5. I still take my shots weekly. I
Okay.
I just I've never spread them out because I just got into that routine of taking it weekly, and I know it works. And but
Yeah.
I did move up to 7.5 with my mind thinking I'll try to spread these shots out, but
Oh,
I haven't got myself to do it yet.
yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. How long now have you been on 7.5? Have you been up to 7.5?
Um, yep, 7.5. I've been on 13 weeks now
Oh, okay. So
in maintenance
for
for
a
a
while,
while.
yeah. And
Yeah.
how does it feel? How's your hunger level? How's your, weight,
Yeah,
stabilization?
everything is going well. I don't have an appetite even without the medication, so I never had food noise.
Oh, wow.
I was never a
Yeah,
big eater, so I
yeah.
didn't need it for appetite suppression. So
Gotcha.
having any of that come back, it just doesn't come back because it never existed.
That's so interesting. So you're a skinny person on the you've always been a skinny person, right? You're a skinny person
Well,
on the inside,
thin
but your
person.
body just needs this medication to maintain, for whatever reason. What does your doctor say about it? About your
It's
overall?
purely metabolic,
Yeah.
this medication and my response to it kind of proves that there are things, going on inside your body besides calories in and calories out. And as your body changes over time, either due to something like a triggering factor like hypothyroidism, or I'm also perimenopausal now, all of these factors can impact how your body processes food that it's intaking, how your body is using fat stores, etc.
Mhm.
So, I know myself, I will be on this medication forever because my
Yeah.
body doesn't function without it. But as soon as
Wow.
you introduce that medication, it was like, "Okay, now I'll work for you." And it just
That's so interesting. I've never talked to anyone with that, situation. Let's show your before and after pictures and
yeah.
see, what that looks like. Was it, 89 pounds, I think you said. So, tell us about these 2 pictures, Jody.
Yeah, the October 2022, this was actually, an event I had at my house when I married my husband in 2022.
Oh,
It was a casual wedding, and
uh,
this was me at my heaviest, so around 230 to 235 pounds. And
yeah.
then the picture on the right-hand side was October 2024 when I hit goal weight, so 89 pounds down.
Wow. Wow, that's great, that's amazing. These don't even look, I mean, I know they're both you, but, I mean, it's just such a big difference. Tell us about these 2 pictures.
Yeah, the one on the left, the August 2022 pic, I was, on vacation in Hawaii with my kids, and this was a picture that we took, while I was there. And
Mhm.
then the one on the right is a picture I had to have done recently for my work, so that's April 2025. So, yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I hated pictures being taken. When I was heavy, especially since I wasn't used to being heavy my whole life. I
Yeah.
don't have a ton of before pictures.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Right.
I
Because you, it was
I
just kind of a blip, like about a 10-year blip, I guess, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was about a
Mhm.
decade, from the point I became hypothyroid to the point I introduced Zepbound.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, on the photo side, my son, he was away at college, when I first started taking the medication, and
Mhm.
he needed my driver's license for some reason, and he had come home for Christmas, so I gave him a copy of it, and he looked at it and he's like, "Oh, wow, you can really see the difference in your driver's license photo to, um,
To now.
to losing the weight." And it's like, "Yeah."
That's awesome. That's funny. Maybe you can get that updated at some point, in case they say, "Oh, that's not you." You can say, "Oh."
I went on a trip this spring, and I actually was nervous going to, the airport, like, "Gosh, I hope they don't harass me, like, this isn't you." But they didn't, they just let me through.
Well, that's good. That's good. So did you ever have any side effects as you were going through? You had a little bit at the beginning when you moved up, but as you got into it, did they continue, or what do you think?
No, the side effects I had early on when I just titrated a little too early to the
Yeah,
5, that's really the only side effects I've had the entire time. Um,
interesting.
I make sure that I'm careful in terms of, getting enough fluid and fiber and things for constipation. So I had never had constipation on this medicine, but I think because I
Yeah,
proactively prevented it,
yeah.
but no other side effects. It's been
Wow.
great. It's total now, I guess, of 80 weeks I've been on the medicine. Um, and so a
Yeah,
lot of folks I know come into this, really fearful of, "Well, oh gosh, what side effects am I gonna have?"
yeah,
And, a lot of us just don't have them, which is
yeah.
great.
Well, and I guess for you, it wasn't a question of your you had no food noise, it wasn't a hunger level, it wasn't it was just some kind of dysregulation, from the hypothyroidism. So, uh, that's I mean, it's a great it's a great solution. Did you tell people that you were on Zepbound, or did they
I
ask?
have,
Yeah.
yep, I've been completely open about it. I always joke if somebody asks me, "Oh my gosh, how did you lose weight?" I'm like, "Drugs." And then we pause, and then I explain.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I haven't been bashful about it. I've got, some family members that have actually chosen to go on a GLP-1 because
Mhm.
they've seen my progress and my success. I think of those that are out there kind of questioning, my biggest fear was that it wasn't gonna work for me because a lot of what you see online is it's an appetite suppressant. And I'm like, "I don't need that. I just need
Right.
my body to work." So I took the chance anyway, and thankfully, it was what the missing puzzle piece I needed. Yeah.
That's great. I guess your, relatives, they knew you before, and they knew you, when your body decided to fight you. And now they know you now that you've, gotten back to your normal self. So I think that's a great, advertisement for what these drugs can do for someone who really never needed them until they needed them. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to chat with you and Christopher is because
Yeah.
I don't think, a lot of conversations are being had about people, like me who didn't have issue with food and didn't
Yeah.
have a weight problem, for an extended period of time, and I just wanted to be able to, put my experience out there and say, "You know what? Even if you don't have issues with food and you're struggling with weight loss, it may be
Mhm.
metabolic, so try it," because it works.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a story like yours, so I'm glad that we're telling it because 'cause I'm sure there must be other people out there like you that maybe, need to hear it. Um, so that's great. You mentioned earlier to me that you had, transitioned to the Zepbound Vials?
Yes, after I hit goal and I immediately started titrating down, as soon as the vials were available and I was at a dose where I could use the vials,
Uh-huh.
I switched to that because it was cheaper. Very easy to use. The process ordering through Eli Lilly it's easier than my going to my local pharmacy, honestly. You
Yeah.
know, your doctor sends the script in, they'll text you and say, "We got the script." You'll process your payment. Within 24 hours, typically, you're getting notification that the medication has shipped to you, and it's at your door within 24 hours. I'm sure those that are in more metropolitan areas I've heard some people got it within 24 hours from the order. It's
Yeah.
very quick and easy,
Yeah. And your
and
doctor just sent the script to Eli Lilly direct?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
very straightforward, and she sends the refills in at the same time so that I don't have to contact her every month. She can send the refills just like a traditional pharmacy.
Perfect.
So
And I guess the other thing to remember with the Eli Lilly vials with the direct is that you have to refill every 45 days. I guess you've been able to maintain that?
yes, they will actually send you an email at 21 days.
Oh, they remind you.
Yep, they'll send you the email at 21 days saying you're ready. I always process my order right away.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the memories of when we had shortage issues, but I
Yeah.
processed it right away. So I've got, I think 1 box actually ahead now because of
Okay.
that 21
Yeah.
day time frame.
Gotcha. And how was it hard to go from the pen, from the auto injector to the needle and the vial?
No, it wasn't difficult. I mean, I like the pens. They're real simple. You take the cap off, you unlock it, you press a button. It does take just a little technique to learn how to draw the medication up into the vial, but once you've
Mhm.
done it once or twice, it's very simple. Both methods I find pain-free. I have never had an issue, with a pen or with the needles. Um, it actually blows my mind sometimes that folks, feel the pain. I'm like, apparently they've never given birth. And it's so fast, it's over before your
Yeah.
brain barely can recognize that there's any kind of pain, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite thing to give myself a shot, but, I'll
sure.
do it because I see the results, right? So and I have
Exactly.
given birth 3 times, so that's definitely a whole 'nother pain
Yeah.
level. Um, let's see. Um, let's see, most of my questions are like, don't really aren't really, applicable to you. Are there any tips or anything that you would wanna tell somebody who's thinking about starting a GLP-1 medication?
Um, yeah, I think, mindset in the beginning is really important, like, I created that chart for myself, like, what would it look like if I lost 2 pounds a week?
Yeah.
You always want it to go faster, but I'm like, "Gosh, if I could be there at that time frame, it would be fabulous." So even if you map out in your mind 1 pound a week, it's better than where you were before you started the medication. So just
Yeah.
be patient. One lesson I've learned in maintenance as well is that even though my weight is relatively stable, your body continues to change. I'm
Mm,
still exercising, and so body recomposition is definitely a thing. I had
yeah.
bought some work clothes when I hit goal because I needed to go on a business trip, and I cannot wear them now. It's like even though
Oh,
my weight is stable, so I caution people just don't spend too much money
yeah.
shopping until
Along
you
the
see
way.
kind of where you settle out. I
Yeah.
work from home luckily, so I did not buy much during that 89-pound weight loss. I just looked a little, frumpy while I worked from home.
Yeah. You mentioned exercise. What kind of exercise do you do?
Yeah, I mentioned I live very rural, so I don't have access to a gym. So
Okay.
my exercise, pertain to walking. I have like a 4.5 mile circuit, near my house, very hilly, so it's a workout. I
Okay.
started primarily with walking, and,
Mhm.
I didn't start at the 4.5 mile. I started maybe I would do a mile and a half, and then I
Right.
built myself, up. And when I
Mhm.
started, getting up those hills, you were out of breath, and it was like, "Oh my gosh, am I gonna die doing this?" But, now I can do that 4.5 miles without any issue at all, and, I also have a rowing machine
Oh, wow.
at
Okay.
home, and that's been great because that counts as both strength and cardio. So it's a
Right.
good piece of equipment to have, if you don't have access to a gym.
Mm,
Um, so those were my 2 primary forms of exercise. I
gotcha.
will say I met goal in October, and I
Mhm.
waited till January, to have a DEXA scan done.
Oh, how'd that go?
And, it went well. So I was going into the appointment thinking, "All right, I need to see where my levels are in terms of percent body fat versus, lean muscle mass." I
Yeah.
expected poor results because everyone always says, "You gotta lift weights, you gotta lift weights," and I
Yeah.
did not lift any weights. So I was really expecting, a lot of work ahead of me in terms of body recomp. And I had a great DEXA scan. My
Oh, good.
values were right where they needed to be, and I was surprised actually. So I do think if you're undecided on your goal weight or you're
Mhm.
undecided what comes next, that those DEXA scans are really valuable just in terms
Hmm.
of really, quantifying where you stand,
Uh-huh.
because I expected 2025 would have been my, "Okay, let's get rid of body fat percentage and more lean mass,"
Yeah.
but I had good results, so I haven't had to go too crazy on working, weights into my program.
Well, that's good. That's good. Your body was probably naturally at a good level before, and then it just developed this problem, so hopefully you went back to the way you were before,
Yeah,
right? That
yep.
kinda makes
Yeah, I
sense.
I wish I had a DEXA scan from the beginning, but I don't.
Yeah. And I guess, for those of us for people just, watching, a DEXA scan can measure your body fat percent. Fill in for me where I'm missing
Yeah.
one. Your muscle mass. What tell us what it measured for you.
Yeah, it measures, your body fat percentage, but it'll break it down to all the different areas of your body. So it'll tell you body fat in your arms, overall in your abdomen, in your legs, and your lean muscle mass. And they use your age and your height, to determine, okay, based on, their metrics, where do you fall? Are you in good shape? Do you have, areas that you need to work on? And it can really, um help those that still need to tweak their um, fat and lean mass to know, okay, do I need to do more leg exercises or more arm exercises?
Oh, okay, okay.
It also looks at bone density, so
Mhm.
it'll tell you that as well,
Yeah.
and it will give you like your overall body age. So when I
Oh,
had mine done, I was 54, and it had my body age at 43.
oh, good.
So I was like, "I'll take that." So, like I said, I went into that appointment really thinking, "Okay, my results are not going to be favorable here,
But they were
just
pretty
good,
good. That's
good data
good.
to have. So,
I mean, I know food wasn't really ever the issue for you, but did you focus on protein? Did you eat any particular things?
yeah, food for me, I had to really focus on during that, not because I ever ate too much, but because I didn't eat much. And I
Oh,
really wanted to go into this coming out healthy.
mhm.
So I worked with my nutritionist and we set a calorie goal, but also a macro goal. So we focused on 45% protein, 35% carbs, 20% fat. And I still use those macros today in maintenance. And I think if you talk to 10 different nutritionists or doctors, you'll get 10 different
The
answers.
different answers. Yeah, sure.
But
What's your
those,
total calories for per day, your calories?
when I was in weight loss phase, it was 1100.
Okay.
Um, and I have a very narrow window between where I lose weight and where I gain weight.
Huh.
Even today in maintenance,
Mm,
if I were to eat, 14, 1500 calories, even with exercise, I
mhm.
gain weight. So
Ooh,
for whatever reason, I have a very narrow window,
huh.
which is fine for me because I never ate that many calories to begin with. I have to
Mm,
really work to get
huh.
1200 calories.
Interesting.
Yeah, I used protein shakes to help me because it was just easier because I was adding food from prior to Zepbound, so I already felt like I was eating a lot. And, the protein shakes, helped me to kind of bridge the gap where I needed and make sure I hit my macro goals.
Interesting. So maybe before you weren't maybe eating enough, and now you kinda shifted to eating more and hitting those macro goals with your nutritionist, giving you a better rounded
Yeah.
uh, health picture. That's really interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard somebody say they're eating more on Vetbound than maybe they were eating previously. So, um, that's great information for someone out there who might have these same issues. Um, so, what kind of protein things do you like besides the shakes?
I eat chicken, a lot of beans, um, I like to make soups and things like that, so I try to make nutrient dense soups. So I'll usually make something like that on a Sunday. And
Yeah.
because I work from home, I'm able to use that for my lunches during the day. I
Mhm.
somehow developed a Caesar salad with chicken addiction during this process. Like if we went out to eat, many times
Uh-huh.
that's what I would order, and I am still not sick of it. So,
Oh, good.
but I'll eat beef. I don't eat fish. I'm just not a fish eater, so I don't eat that. But all my foods are whole foods other than shakes.
The
Like
shakes.
I don't eat protein bars or anything like that. I like
Yeah,
to cook, so cook from
gotcha.
home. But
Are there other people in the house eating the same thing you're eating, or are they eating something different?
It's just my husband home now, and many times he'll eat something different. Like if I make soups or something like that, he will eat them. But a lot of times, if we're picking a meat for dinner, he might eat a steak. I'll eat chicken or something else. So
Yeah,
we just kind of work it in that way. The sides are typically the same. He likes vegetables, so he'll eat those.
yeah,
But I've had to tweak it. He did say at one point early on in my journey, he likes to get ice cream, and so he kept asking me, "Do you want to go get ice cream?" And I'd be like, "I'll go with you, but I don't want one." And
Oh,
he's like, "You're cramping my style now."
oh,
But he adjusted. He got used to it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't restrict food. So have I had ice cream? Yes. A burger, a slice of pizza, or whatever. I think everything in moderation is the
yeah,
key. I'm not gonna rule out foods that I love. But I think if you set macros and you try to focus on them, it allows you to eat these things, all the things you love, but
yeah.
in
You
a
just
in
work
a
them
balanced way.
into your
Exactly.
calorie plan, into your macro plan. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
So,
guess if you said, you have such a small window, small margin of error, I guess. Have you
yeah.
ever, eaten maybe something that you don't normally eat and then saw it on the scale the next day? How do you
Um,
adjust?
I do weigh daily, and it's, not a one day up won't cause the scale to necessarily go up that day, but if I
Okay.
have, a string of days together, it'll go up.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know why my body has this very narrow window, but it does. When I moved into maintenance, I did my adjustment up just based
Mhm.
on I'd add protein shakes. I'm like, that's the easiest thing for me to add that's consistent in terms
Yeah.
of calories and, fat content and all of that. I'll
Yeah.
tweak it with the protein shake so I can see where my kind of sweet spot is.
Hmm.
And that's how I kind of figured out where I needed to be.
Interesting, interesting. Do
So,
you, do you write down your food that you eat every day? How do you hit those macros?
yeah, I do. I track my food. I use my Fitness Pal to track my food. It's easy. I just go in there. I eat a lot of the same things all the time, so once
Yeah,
they're in there,
once
they'll
they're
pop
saved,
up
then you
easily.
yeah,
And so I track it. I focus more on the macros really than the calories because I
okay,
know even if my calories are up a little bit on a day, I might have a hard time getting those calories the next day. So it's really the more the macros that I focus on. Um, and I
interesting.
weigh every day and I track every day. Yep, I've taken my scales on vacations and
Do you have a travel scale or you just take your bathroom one with
just take my bathroom one
yeah.
with me when I go, yeah, I did leave it home this spring when I went on vacation, I was in maintenance, and I'm like, "I'll just leave
Mhm.
it home," but that's just the weird person in me, I like my data I keep a spreadsheet, and I don't like holes in my data,
Yeah,
so
well, that's true. Do you have one of those electronic scales that sends the data to your phone, or
I
you
do,
do?
yep, it sends it right to my phone, and then it's linked with Apple Health, it's linked with my Shopsy app, and,
Oh, you use
um
Shotzi app too, okay.
yeah, when the Shopsy app was being developed, it was actually by a Zepbound user, and
Mhm.
they had reached out on Reddit saying, "Hey, I'm developing this app. Do you want to try it for free? And if
Oh,
I
cool.
launch the app, then you get it for free for life." And I'm like, "Okay." So that's
Nice.
how I ended up with the Shopsy app, and we just gave feedback during that trial period, and yeah, that's how I use
Cool.
it.
Cool. Yeah, I've put, uh, stuff into the Shotzi app a few times. I think now they have a paid version where you can unlock more, so, um, it's nice that you have all that for free.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think once you're in maintenance, I don't think the Shopsy app is as beneficial because you're not necessarily titrating as
Yeah,
frequently, and that's really the benefit that I saw initially is just being
yeah,
able to see how much medication is in your body at one time.
yeah,
And I think for new users of the medicine, being able to understand when their hunger comes back, well, maybe it's because your medication is dipping down, or maybe you're having more side effects, it's going up. Just for them to learn more about the
get additional
medicine, it
mhm.
helps. But,
Have you ever missed a shot?
um, I never missed a shot. I had, one shot that was a few days late because of availability, but I've never had to miss a
Yeah,
shot.
that's good.
That I haven't had any medical procedures where I've had to go off of
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
Just curious,
so
if that level, because that's just thinking of my recent experience with missing a shot and not I felt like I couldn't get back to the level that I was before. It took me really like 3 or 4 weeks, I feel like. So I was just wondering if you had a similar,
yeah,
thing.
and I think that's normal just because of the way the medication's half-life works in your body. Any
Yeah.
kind of a glitch in the medication process will
Yeah.
take you 3, 4 weeks for it to just get back to the normal,
Yeah.
um, you know,
Yeah, for
but
sure. Well, this has been really interesting. I've learned a lot. Stuff that I've just never heard of before. So that's, it's just so amazing the more that we hear, what these GLP-1 medications can do in terms of weight loss and sleep apnea and cardiac health and all kinds of things. So I'm glad we're getting your story out there so people can, hopefully pass it along to maybe someone that they think, oh, maybe this would help them, right? Um,
exactly.
so yeah. Well, thank you, Jody. I appreciate you chatting with us today. It's been great having you on the Downsized Dish. And if anybody out there would like to be on the Downsized Dish, you can send me an email to Laraine at thedownsized.org. I'll send you a link to our calendar and we'll get you all set up. You can check out our live shows on the Downsized most Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us there. We take questions, have a little bit of news, have a little bit of views, and let people celebrate their wins with us. You can also check out our website at thedownsized.org. We've got an Amazon store there. We're Amazon affiliates, so we make a small commission on each purchase. I've got some GLP-1 things that I've used along the way that are I found helpful. And please like and subscribe. We hope you will like and subscribe to The Downsized. And that's it. Thank you, Jody.
Mm,
I've enjoyed talking with you today.
thank you, Lorraine, and safe cruising. I hope you guys have a great time.
Thank you. Yep, that's coming up in less than a week. We're going on the downsized cruise. And for those of you guys not on this downsized cruise, we're going to soon be announcing our downsized cruise for 2026. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can keep up with all that information. Well, thanks, Jody, and thanks everyone out there for watching. I'm Laraine Durham for The Downsized. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.